Timeless tales, an original moral story, the gardener and the notification. Lena had inherited two things from her grandmother. The first was a small brown ceramic pot in the shape of a rabbit, which sat on the kitchen shelf and held a sprig of dried rosemary. The second was the habit of growing things. Her apartment was on the 4th floor of a building in a city that had forgotten what quiet was. But the balcony, a narrow concrete shelf overlooking a parking lot, was hers, and she had made something of it. There were tomatoes in deep blue pots, slow and deliberate, strung up on thin bamboo stakes she repainted every spring. There was basil and mint and thyme in terracotta rows. There was a small lavender bush that the bees had somehow found, despite being 40 feet above the street. There was a geranium the color of old brick. In the morning before work, she would stand among them with a mug of coffee and feel, in a way she could not quite explain, that she was doing something right. Not productive. Not useful exactly. Right the way sleeping is right, or sitting in sunlight is right.
They know me a little, I think. Not in any mystical way, just if you pay attention to something every day, it starts to tell you things. The tomatoes put out flowers early this year. I think they trusted me.
Spring passed the way spring does, suddenly, loudly, too fast. Lena's project at work expanded into 3 sub-projects and a stakeholder committee. The notifications began in earnest. Her phone had always been with her, but now it felt like a small animal on her hip, perpetually hungry, always nudging. Not demanding exactly, just persistent. There in the meeting, there on the commute, there on the balcony, just for a moment, just to check. The tomatoes grew, the basil thickened. She was busy, she would get to them. The difference between tending and watching is a matter of 10 minutes a day, a pair of hands, a pair of eyes. She still looked at the balcony. She just looked at it less, the way you look at a painting you have stopped really seeing. You know it is there, you trust it is fine.
I will water them in a bit. I just need to finish this thread. Someone is catastrophically wrong about something on the internet, and honestly, I will check this one thing, and then I will go outside.
Basil was the first to go, not dramatically, just quietly going pale and tired, the leaves less glossy, less generous. The tomatoes began dropping flowers before they could set. The mint spread horizontally rather than up, a sign that it had stopped being tended. Lena saw these things. She noticed them the way you notice a word spelled wrong on a sign. It registers, you file it, you do not stop walking. There was always tomorrow. There was always a more convenient version of the moment she would fix it. The geranium stopped blooming. The lavender went dry and spindly. The bees stopped coming. She noticed the bees had stopped coming and felt a small contraction in her chest and thought, I should do something about that. Then her phone buzzed, and she did something about that instead.
Plants are resilient. That is what people do not understand. They come back. The tomatoes just need a good soaking and some feed, and they will be absolutely fine. I have been busy. It has been a hard few weeks. I will sort it out this weekend.
She sorted it out on a Thursday, not by choice. She went out to the balcony at 7 in the morning with her coffee, and the tomato plant had gone, not nearly dead, not struggling. It had simply crossed over during the night, the way plants do when they have been patient long enough and have nothing left to wait for. It stood in its blue pot, dry and brown and finished, the small green tomatoes, 5 of them, the size of marbles, still on the stem where they would always be now. Lena stood there for a long time. She did not reach for her phone. She did not know what she would have looked for. She just stood with the coffee going cold in her hands, looking at the thing that had trusted her to show up.
I watched 6 hours of other people's gardens last month. Reviews of soil amendments. Time-lapse videos of tomatoes ripening on someone else's vine. I watched all of that. I did not go outside.
The following Saturday she went out with her phone face down on the kitchen table. Not as a gesture, not a fast from technology, she just left it there. She spent 3 hours on the balcony, cutting back what was dry, pulling up what was gone, feeding what was left. The basil came back, the mint recovered, the lavender was better than she had feared. She started again with the tomatoes, a new plant smaller from the market. It did not know her yet, but it would. She stayed outside until the light changed from morning white to afternoon gold, and then a little longer, until the bees came back to the lavender, and she understood that she had not lost everything. Only what she had neglected. She never went back to the way things had been before, or she tried not to, which amounts to the same thing on most mornings. The garden was not a reward for her attention. It was a mirror of it. When she looked closely, things grew. When she turned away, things quietly returned to where they had started, waiting for her. She thought sometimes about the bees, how they had found the balcony at all 40 feet above a parking lot and had decided, this is a place worth visiting. She did not want to be the reason they stopped deciding that.
What you tend grows, what you neglect quietly fades. Attention is not a luxury, it is the condition of everything alive.
Timeless Tales by AmtocSoft. A new tale every day. Subscribe and walk with us.